The Bureau of Industry and Security presents How to Successfully Apply for Licenses for Biological Items. This video provides instructions for those in the life sciences and pharmaceutical industry sectors and academia on how to apply for licenses for biological items controlled under Export Control Classification Numbers, or ECCNs 1C351, 1C353, 1C354, 1C991, and the related technology controlled under 1E001.
Hey, Clark, what's wrong?
I'm trying to figure out if I need an export license for a biological item, and I don't know where to start.
Well, what exactly are you exporting?
Does it matter? I thought it would be the same for all biological items.
First, is this biological item under the Department of State or Department of Commerce jurisdiction? If this work is funded by the Department of Defense, you might want to discuss with your Office of Sponsored Research or your equivalent for the need to submit a commodity jurisdiction to the Department of State to determine if the biological item is subject to the International Traffic in Arms Regulations or the Export Administration Regulations.
We don't do any Department of Defense sponsored research, so our biological items should be subject to the EAR.
Great. The next step is to determine if your item is listed on the Commerce Control List, or as we say, the CCL. Most biological items will fall under Category 1, Materials, Chemicals, Microorganisms, and Toxins. I recommend accessing the CCL from the BIS website to ensure you are using the most current version of the regulations. To access the regulations, navigate to the BIS website at bis.doc.gov. Hover your mouse over Regulations from the blue menu bar and select Export Administration Regulations. On the next page, click on Category 1 to view that section of the CCL.
Category 1 is over 100 pages long. Can I use the Select Agents and Toxins list instead of the CCL?
No, the two lists serve different purposes, and while the items are similar, they do not completely correspond. In fact, the CCL has many more plant agents controlled than the Select Agents and Toxin list. When checking if a biological agent is listed on the CCL, start with Export Control Classification Number, the ECCN, 1C351. Most biological agents are described in ECCNs 1C351, 1C353, 1C354, and 1C991. Also, regarding ECCN 1C353 genetic elements and genetically modified organisms, this ECCN is only applicable to pathogens listed in ECCNs 1C351 and 1C354. The CCL on the BIS website is keyword searchable by clicking Ctrl and F on your keyboard for the Find box to appear on the screen. What are you planning to ship?
I need to send Brucella to Poland.
Type the name of the biological agent in the Find box to search the document. There are 3 types of Brucellas listed in ECCN 1C351. Do you know which one you plan to export to Poland?
Brucella suis.
Oh, okay, that bacteria is controlled under 1C351C.4. Now we know the ECCN, the next step is to determine the reason for control. ECCN 1C351.C.4 is controlled for CB column 1 and AT column 1 reasons. Now we will use the Commerce Country Chart to see if there's a license required for Poland. To access the most current Commerce Country Chart, navigate to the BIS website at bis.doc.gov. Hover your mouse over Regulations from the blue menu bar and click on Commerce Country Chart. Find Poland on the chart and cross-reference the row for Poland with the columns for CB1 and AT1. You can see from the chart that CB stands for Chemical and Biological Weapon and AT stands for Anti-Terrorism. There is an X in the box for CB column 1, but not for AT column 1. Since there is an X in the box for CB column 1, there is a license requirement to send Brucella suis to Poland.
Do all these items need a license for any destination, even Canada?
It depends. ECCNs 1C351, 1C353, and 1C354 are controlled for CB column 1 reasons. Using the Commerce Country Chart, you will see that there is an X in the box for all countries for CB1 reasons. This means that these ECCNs require a license worldwide, but you might be eligible to use a license exception for certain transactions.
What is a license exception?
A license exception is an authorization under the EAR that allows you to export an item that would otherwise require a license as long as the export transaction meets specific criteria described within the license exception.
Which license exceptions can I use for biological items?
All license exceptions are found in Part 740 of the Export Administration Regulations. Your eligibility to use a license exception will depend on the facts of your transaction. For example, if you are shipping the item for use by an agency or personnel of the U.S. government or an agency of a cooperating government, you might consider reviewing License Exception GOV. The specific provisions of License Exception GOV and the definition of cooperating governments is available in Section 740.11 of the EAR. License Exception Strategic Trade Authorization, or STA, may be available for certain toxins described under ECCN 1C351.D, destined to certain destinations. There are specific quantity restrictions when using this license exception to ship toxins. The specific provisions of License Exception STA are available in Section 740.20 of the EAR. If you're not able to use a license exception, then you will need to apply for a license.
I'm not shipping to a government end user, and I'm not shipping a toxin, so I will need to apply for a license. How do I do that?
The first step is to register for a SNAP-R account.
What is SNAP-R?
SNAP-R is BIS's secure web portal for exporters to submit license applications to BIS for review.
That seems complicated.
Don't worry, I'll help you fill out your license application. Part 748 of the EAR provides instructions on how to submit license applications. BIS also has online videos that provide step-by-step instruction to register for a SNAP-R account, submit commodity classification requests, and to apply for export licenses.
Okay, I'm logged into SNAP-R. What should I do specifically for export applications of biological items?
Start filling out your license application using the instructions in Supplement 1 to Part 748. If your export involves a different purchaser and additional end users, you must include those organizations in the appropriate blocks. Block 16 is for the purchaser. Block 18 is required field for the ultimate consignee, and Block 19 are for additional end users. It is very important to provide the exact name of the university or business. Do not place an individual's name in the ultimate consignee or end user blocks. The physical address is required to include building name and road intersections if necessary, and P.O. boxes are not acceptable addresses. For Block 21, your end use should be as specific as possible. Unacceptable end use descriptions include for scientific research, for animal experimentation, stockpile for further distribution, etc., because they are too general. Acceptable descriptions include for use as a supplement for media for cell culture, for use as an adjuvant, for production of a specific drug. Please include the name of the drug or type of drug, for example, cancer therapeutic or monoclonal antibody. Another acceptable description is providing a sample for a reference laboratory capable of appropriate biosafety level, and please include the biosafety level. Or in vivo or in vitro testing, and please include a brief description of experiment and upload relevant articles under documents attached to license application. For Block 22, Export Item Information, select the ECCN from the drop-down menu in 22A. Input the number of items in 22E and the unit of measurement in 22F. Unit of measurement can be weight, such as milligrams or micrograms, or volumes, such as milliliters or microliters. In certain circumstances, vial or culture dish may be appropriate. Insert the unit price in Block 22G. Block 22H, total price, will be calculated based on the unit price and quantity. Please make sure that the value is correct. Unit price and total price must be reflected in U.S. dollars. If there is no charge for the item to be exported, the unit price should be a minimum of $1. Under Block 22J, technical description, name the toxin, microorganism, or genetic elements and any alternative names for the organism. If you are shipping vials, include the volume such as milliliters, microliters, or plaque-forming units per vial in 22J. For live organisms, please add biosafety level of the organism and the biosafety level capability of the receiving lab. Under Block 24, additional information, provide information on the person who will be using the item and details of the research or project to include the researcher's name, date and place of birth, academic background, work experience, summary of research history, and recent publications. You could also upload support documents as PDF files to your license application under Documents Attached to License Application.
That's a lot of information. Who should I call if I get stuck?
BIS export counselors are available in Washington, D.C. and California to assist you with the Export Administration regulations. Thank you for watching this video, and happy exporting.